Welcome to Wendy's Wisdom for Living in the Light. Improve your life starting today by understanding your inner gifts and how spirit influences your life. So let's get started. By listening to this episode, you agree to the terms found at wendyswisdom.ca/terms.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's show. Now today I thought I would talk about something that I actually stumbled on quite by accident. It wasn't something that I had planned. It was something that kind of came to me in the moment. It was something I've never actually thought about doing before, but since it came into my mind, I thought I would experiment with it. And for those of you who know me, you know that I am big into experiments. In fact, I think they're kind of mandatory. If you are working in this field or exploring this field, you don't have to be working in it, but if you are just exploring this field, you just can't take everything that everybody says as gospel. You really have to experiment with whatever it is you're told or verify whatever it is that you're told to make sure that it is right for your path. Everybody's at a different level of energy, and what is right for one person may not be right for someone else. So there's a lot you have to consider when it comes to taking information and applying it to your life. And of course, part of that is going to be your spiritual vibration. Part of it's going to be your level of knowledge that you have acquired. Part of it, or really a huge part of it, is going to be your life contract. So there's things that are going to come into play in terms of you finding what is right for your path. I've found it to be very useful and actually quite fun to do. So what is it I'm talking about? First of all, it's super easy to do. It's not something that takes time because it fits right in with what you are doing or should be doing, which is meditating. But what I'm talking about is actually recording your meditations. Now, maybe you're thinking, what do you mean record your meditations? That doesn't even make sense. Well, what I'm talking about is you actually recording what's happening while you are meditating. Because when you meditate, hopefully you get into a deeper state of awareness, a deeper state of meditation, and hopefully you don't fall asleep. By the way, if you're falling asleep, it is because you need it, and it's probably not the best time for you to be meditating. Pick a different time through the day where you can get into a deeper state of awareness without falling asleep. So I come back to how I ended up doing this. One day I was getting ready to do my meditation, and I was moving my phone, I think, somewhere, and I thought, hey, why don't I just record on my phone what's happening while I'm meditating? Because I know that when I meditate, I go into a very deep state of awareness. I just don't know how aware I am of what's happening around me, or if I'm really hearing things that are happening that are going on around me. I know that there are times where I am in a very deep state of awareness, where my guides are working on my energy, and I am hearing everything that's going on around me. I'm hearing the television if it's on, or I'm hearing music if it's on, and I'm hearing the noise from outside if something is happening, but I just can't move or open my eyes. I think of it as being drugged, because the spirit guides or the healers, however you want to think about them, they're doing work on me, and I'm not meant to actually get up and move around. Once they're finished, my eyes just open and I go about my business. And I'm not the only one who experiences it. A lot of people do. In fact, my sister was talking to me about it the other day, where she was saying, I just finally gave up, because she was going through that state where they were working on her, and she knew she wanted to get up and she was trying to, but she couldn't. Finally, she just said, I just gave up. And I said, that's what you have to do. You don't have much choice. When they want to work on you, they're working on you. It's not up to you. You have very little to no control over opening your eyes and going about your business. So I agree with my sister Elaine. The best thing to do is just give in to it, surrender, and let them do what they need to do. So I guess this time when I was going to do my meditation, I thought, why don't I find out what is actually happening around me and how deep into this meditation am I? Am I really so aware of what's going on around me? Am I not aware at all? Because normally when I am doing my meditation, I'm focused on my meditation and it's very, very quiet in my mind in terms of I don't hear outside noises. My mind is very busy because I am normally thinking about things or talking to spirit guides, getting information or doing different things. So my mind can be very active, but I'm not really aware, of course, of how deep I am getting into a meditation while this is happening. So that's how it kind of came about and why I thought this is a good thing to fiddle around with and see what happens. It was just an idea, like I said, that came to me and an experiment. And I really didn't have any expectations of what would happen or what I would get on the recording. That really was the reason why I did it, because I wanted to see what was going on around me while I was meditating. So this is what I started to do. I started to record my meditations to see what was going on. And one thing I learned is that during my very deep states of awareness, I sort of snore, but it's not consistent. And it really is showing me that I'm in a very relaxed state. I also can tell that my breathing is quite consistent because it shows up as being like every 4 seconds or every 2 seconds or whatever it is, whatever the pattern is showing up on the recording. One thing that I found really interesting was that there is a lot of noise that is going on around me while I am meditating that I am not aware of at all. There are things like the fireplace that would come on and make quite a loud noise, but I never heard it at all during the meditation. There are noises from the street outside. Again, I don't even hear them. There are knocks or bangs or noises that happen in my home, and I don't even hear them. Now, granted, some of those things you become immune to, right? You hear something over and over again, and you just stop hearing it. However, when my fireplace goes on, for example, I always hear it because it is such a noticeable noise when it kicks in. So that was a really good indication for me that I am in a deep state because I'm not even hearing that. So those were things that I probably expected or thought might happen. But I had something happen that was really what I thought was unusual. I had done a meditation. Now, in this particular meditation, I had actually gone out of body, and I was getting a lot of information from Spirit during that session. That was really interesting, at least it was from my perspective, even as I was having it. So while I was having the out-of-body experience, I was learning things that made me think to myself, wow, this is really interesting, or, why is this happening? I don't get it. And that happened several times during my session. Now, I then came out of the session, and then I went back over the recording, which I do every time, to see if there's anything interesting that actually gets caught on the recording. And this time, there were actually 3 times on the recording where I caught myself saying, and it's a very clear In fact, I will find it for you, and let me put it right on here. So here's what I picked up during the session. The first one happened at 1 hour and 37 minutes into the session. The second one happened at 1 hour and 39 minutes. And the last one happened at 1 hour and 53 minutes into the session. Now, this was an out-of-body session, and they usually take a bit longer. So this session was 2 hours in length. Now, I've also taken these 3 parts out of the original, and I have put them very close together so that you're hearing them very quickly, but they were more spaced out on the original. Now, although I've got them close together, they were actually spaced out. I didn't want you to sit and listen to 20 minutes of me meditating because of the space between the But that's actually what I picked up. So that was really interesting because I was verbally, like physically, responding to what was happening in the outer body. I believe during the times where I was making the noises of the or whatever, I was being shown some things that I was trying to figure out why they were there or why I was seeing them. I think that I was responding to what I was seeing. But that's actually a guess because I don't really know what was going on in the out of body at the exact time I was making those noises. My thought was, after I had heard this, is that maybe down the road, when I am into a lot more of the out of bodies, which I've been told I'm going to have, maybe I will be able to speak during those out of bodies and record it, which would be fantastic. I don't know if it's possible, but I do know that I had picked up that little part, which I never thought would actually happen. Now, if you want to add a little spice to your meditation to see what you can pick up from it, you can also add to your prayer, which of course you should be doing before you do any meditation, is to add in a request to ask Spirit to come through and say something on your recording device. Of course, you want to make sure that you're asking for a positive entity to come through, not a negative. You don't want to invite a negative one around you, especially when you're meditating. So you want to invite somebody to say something into the phone to see what happens. Now, I have tried this many times, but so far, no luck. Nobody has said anything. I don't know if it's just because it's not allowed. I don't know if they are being prevented from doing so. Maybe it's just that they don't want me focusing on that. I don't know. But it can't hurt to try it. You might get something. You might have somebody come through and say something. That would be kind of a cool experience. So that's a little bit of the background and a little bit about what I went through. So now if you want to do it, how do you do it? Super easy. When you go to meditate, use your phone or any recording device and just turn it on before you start to meditate. There's not much to it. Now when you finish with your meditation, you turn it off. I save my file, and then I go through it and I listen to it. Now, I don't always listen to the full recording once it's over. I kind of give it a quick listen, and I look for areas within the recording where there is a spike in volume because I can see that on the software that I'm using. Now, I could be missing things because I'm doing that, but I did find the so I'm hoping that anything else is going to show up as well. Not only that, my meditations tend to run about an hour, and I don't want to just be listening to an hour's worth of silence or the odd snore or whatever it is, my breathing noises outside. I don't want to listen to that for a full hour. I just want to see if there is something that is notable. And it is my belief that if there is something notable, I will be made aware of it. Now, when I meditate, I don't listen to any music. It's silent. In fact, I have actually started to put earplugs in, so I'm not hearing the outside noises. But if you are going to be using something like a guided meditation, where you have somebody speaking or you are meditating to music, I suggest that in that case, use earphones or earbuds so that the music is going right into your ear and you are still recording whatever is happening around you. Oh, one of the other things that just came to me, one of the other things that I started to do while I am using this method was during my meditations, if I am speaking to a spirit guide and they are giving me information that is what I consider to be important, I can actually just start talking and recording whatever it is that we're talking about in the conversation so that I don't forget about it later. I can play it back and type it out or listen to the information that I received. So it's very, very useful in that way. If you are used to talking to your spirit guides or teachers, record your sessions while you're meditating, and then you're free to just talk as you are meditating if you're in that state where you can do that, and record the conversation and the details that could be very important. So going back to what I was saying about how you do it, use earbuds or headphones if you do have background music or you're using a guided meditation. That way you will get what's going on around you during the session. Now, it could be a bit difficult if you're hearing impaired or deaf to do this, but I am thinking that you could set up the phone to record yourself in video to see what you're doing. And that way, if you are getting information from Spirit, you could, if you sign, you could actually sign the conversation that you could look at later, or you could just record it and then see if there are any areas where there are spikes in the volume. When you see a spike, maybe you could use a different software to convert that portion from speech to text, or you could get somebody who is hearing to give it a listen and see what they hear. There might be other tools out there that you can use that would be better, but I really don't know a lot about it, and you would probably have better suggestions. Those are only a couple of my suggestions, but I'm sure there's got to be a way that you could do it as well. If you are into sign language, that could be a way to get information if you are recording a conversation you're having with your spirit guide, that you can actually sign the conversation and come back to it later to watch it and record the information in your own diaries. So that's just a little experiment that I thought might be interesting for you to try. It's actually become quite the habit with me that when I meditate now, I record my sessions. It could very well be that down the road there's a reason for me doing that, but I don't know that for sure. So this could be preparation for the future, or it could just be that I'm nosy enough to want to know what's going on while I'm meditating and to see what level of awareness I'm at during my meditation. I have certainly learned a few things about myself while I meditate, and I have learned that while I'm in an out of body, I can actually physically speak or am making noises physically in response to what's happening in the out of body, which was surprising to me. I found it extremely useful to be able to record the conversations that I'm having with Spirit so that I don't have to worry about remembering so much of what they said. But of course, you do have to be in a slightly more aware state in order to do that. So give that a try if you think it's going to be fun or interesting. And do leave comments and let me know what type of experiences you have. If you are a member of the Empaths, Ascension, and Psychic Stuff community, which is on Patreon, make sure to leave a detailed comment about what you are experiencing, because I am sure that other people would love to hear about your experience. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a community that I've just started on Patreon. It is patreon.com/Wendy Kay, patreon.com/WendyKay. Now, this is a new community that I have just set up. It is replacing the current patron system that I have going. If you are a current patron, you might want to hop over there and check it out. I will be sending you an email about cutting over, but it is something definitely that is going to give you more value, because I will be posting things in that area. I have found that Facebook has become very heavy in their energy, and I'm just really not encouraged to post on there at all. There's no motivation, but I am finding in this new area, it definitely feels better, and it is private, so you can feel quite secure in terms of posting whatever it is that you would like to share with others. I have been posting things that I've experienced, and I've been doing posts that are text. So I've been writing something out that's only a paragraph. It's not enough for a full show, but it is interesting enough that it should be shared with others. The information might not ever make it to a full show, but like I said, I think it's important for people to know. Also, I've started to do some channeled messages from the guides, not anything that's really long, just short ones. But again, information that I think is going to be interesting or important for you guys to know as we go forward. So if that's something that you're drawn to, head over to patreon.com/Wendy Kay and check it out. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Wendy Kay, and remember to live in the light and to breathe in divine love.